Hey guys, welcome to another video from Overbyte Gaming, and today we're taking a look at Aliens Dark Descent. Now, I wasn't sure whether I was going to get this, because when I originally saw it, I assumed it was XCOM-like, and having watched a video, I was like, it's not entirely like XCOM pretty much at all. So, yeah, I was like umming and ahhing about it, and eventually went through it. It is a lower price game, sort of sitting neatly in that AA tier. It is from Focus. And as they are the publishers and developers, I think, are Tindalus, who did the Battlefleet Gothic games, which I didn't really get on with, if I'm honest. In this, you initially start out playing a sort of director of a Weyland-Yutani planet. No, not a director, like a sub-director, something like that. And obviously, some asshole lets out an alien, things go to pot, and the Marines turn up and help you out. But the Marines ship is shot down by your sort of containment procedure, and then they use the crash ship as a mission base to go out and sally forth and destroy aliens and what have you, which is, you know, what Colonial Marines are apt to do. Now, as a game, it's not, as I said, like XCOM in that it's not turn-based. It is real-time. You do have the option to slow or pause the game when you're looking at your special abilities, so that you would have that facility to slow it down and like have a little think. So perhaps it's more applicable to maybe Dragon Age Origins. For me, the movement seems the one thing that always brought to mind and never seems to be picked up is Company of Heroes, because you don't control one Marine, you control a squad of Marines. So when you issue a move order, the Marines will basically line up, and if you move in the cover, there'll be little green blocks which show you where the Marines are going, but it won't show you what Marine goes where and all that. Excuse me. Which, to my mind, is very similar to Company of Heroes, and I've not really heard that analogy been used before in any reviews for this game, so I like to think I'm the first, and we'll trademark that. Thank you very much. The game itself is very difficult. I have not finished it because stealth is a real benefit in this game. It's really worth doing, and I am terrible at stealth games. I just don't have the patience or the awareness to sneak past something. I would much rather just kill it. And in the majority of this game, outside of the tutorial, that is an option. You can do that. But it is very, very bad for you. Let's just say that, because I can't think of a good acronym. Simile. Words today, I don't know, whatever. Because when you are discovered, whether it's by one alien that's just out by himself or by a little group of them or whatever, it starts a hunt. Now you say, okay, what's a hunt? Well, the hunt is basically the Nest is aware of your presence and will send out warriors to deal with you. You kill the warriors, the hunt only lasts a certain amount of time, that goes down, and you move on with your life, in theory. But it also increases the alien aggressiveness. And the alien aggressiveness is what really bums you over in this game. So as that moves forward, your alien friends will not only get harder and more numerous, you will also start seeing overwhelming assaults of them, I think is what it's termed in the game. Basically where they release a shit ton of aliens, usually like a dozen or so, and they will home in your position and do their very best to kill you, and you have to try and survive. There's also another lovely thing that it does, where
we'll cover you.
If you reach another marker on the aggressiveness bar, you'll be attacked by a stage 2 alien, or more than one. I think it's usually 2. These can range from bigger, sort of, I think you have like, you know, you've got like the drones and the Praetorians. There's kind of like a warrior in between them in this game. So sort of a mid-size alien. But there are a lot of expanded universe aliens in this game. So you've got a runner, you've got a Praetorian, you've got a Crusher, which I think that was first in Extinction and was back for Colonial Marines, as memory serves. Who's like a big rhino type alien and takes a lot of damage and hits hard. And you are humans, so you are quite squishy. In fact, not only is your body quite squishy, so is your brain in this game, because you do suffer from stress, and you do suffer from maladies caused by stress, whether this is excessive fear of aliens, perhaps. So if you see an alien, your stress meter will take damage, so it will rise quicker. And, you know, once that's high, then you'll start becoming very unstable, you will miss shots, you will act out of character, you might sabotage the mission, stuff like that, you know, things you don't want to happen. So as you play through the missions, you'll be managing your team, not just through their health, but also through, you know, their mental stress. Once you've got like a trauma they're cited as, there is a facility you can build to help deal with that, or there are perks that you can assign the Marines as they level up, which will remove them or prevent them getting them, which is super handy. So yes, getting that bar going up when you're discovered or hunted or under assault is not a good thing. It makes the game significantly harder, and it is already, in my opinion, quite a hard game, and I am playing it on Pussy Games Journalist level because I knew it was a hard game going in, and it still is a hard game, in my opinion. There are things you can do to mitigate this. So your Marines have various skills. As I say, you press spacebar, it brings up the skill menu, and it pauses, depending on your settings, or slows down time while you're selecting. You can actually choose not to have it do either of those if you really are a glutton for punishment. And then you can choose some special abilities such as grenades, or a shotgun, or a flamethrower, or, you know, placing down a a sentry gun, which is super handy. They're really good. I like those a lot. They've saved my ass. So you do have things on your side. You have limited amounts of stuff. So you have limited amounts of med kits and tools. Use the tools for stuff like hacking doors, welding doors. Oh, ow! That was my thumb. Sorry about that. Stuff like that. So, you know, it is a bit of cat and mouse. So you can weld doors, try and like secure a room to live for an alien attack. Like, you have one entrance way for the aliens to get in, and then just point all your Marines at it with suppressive fire and sentry guns and hoop like hell. You can take them all out. But as I say, your Marines are quite squishy. The aliens are quite deadly when they get in close, and also yeah, they have the acid for blood thing. So there's a percentile chance they explode when you kill them. So it's always wise to be backing away. Speaking of the movement, you just, I think it's right click or double right click for walk or run. It is worth pointing out that when you run, you are unable to fire. So if you're hunted, you might want to take it a bit slower so you can instantaneously start shooting at anything the Marines see. Because, I mean, you're already hunted. What does it matter, right? Just take them out, and they're coming for you. There are face huggers. There's a reasonable story, I'd say. I like what I've seen so far. I haven't finished it, so I don't know the payoff. But yeah, the sort of duplicitous corporate stooge you play at the beginning of the game is actually not too bad. She does take sort of responsibility for her actions and does act heroically now and then. When you go back to your not your dropship, but your I think it's the Otago, which is basically the Nostromo, not the Nostromo, the Sulaco of the game. So it's basically like one of those ships that had crashed. It is very reminiscent of XCOM, and then you have different facilities you go to and they do different things. You do get access to more guns. You unlock them by leveling up your Marines or training a Marine into a certain class. Once they reach level 3, your Marine can pick a class out of 2 that will be, I think, randomly generated. You have like gunners, which are the ones that wield the smart guns. You have medics, who obviously can heal people, which is lovely. Tech guys who can hack stuff, things like that. You also just have general weapons which are better that regular Marines can carry. So if you have, I think it's a level 6 Marine, you get like an upgraded version of the pulse rifle, a heavier version, which is cool. And you can also unlock the incinerator, and that replaces your Marine special weapons. So you can have like shotguns, incinerators, rocket launchers, things like that. It is a good game. I would have preferred it if it was strategy based, just simply turn-based, because simply I'm better at those. I like to be able to think and assess and take my time and work stuff out, whereas you don't get a whole bunch of time. And as I said, if you're not very good at stealth, the game is exponentially harder. If you can avoid the aliens most of the time, you can stay out on the missions a lot longer. Now, the way the missions work is they don't expect you to go out and do the missions. I think in the first mission there's about 18 objectives you have to complete. That's a lot. And the map is quite big and it covers multiple levels, and you will... I mean, it doesn't start off on the best foot, and I'll go into that a bit later. But, yeah, so you're not expected to complete the mission. You're expected to, like, do a bit and then come back and pick up from where you left off. That way you sort of minimise the risk of getting your Marines injured, and like the injuries take days to heal, and you only have a certain amount of days because the infestation of the planet goes up as the days pass, which makes the game harder again. So yeah, it is a game that you want to be getting things done in quite quickly and quite quietly if you possibly can, which is something I'm terrible at in both respects. As I said, it doesn't make the best first impression. The tutorial isn't very well done. As I said, the character works fine. It's just the mechanics of the game don't really lend itself to like having one person. I mean, you start with tutorials, one person who does your basic movements things. Here's how you open doors, here's how you run, blah blah blah, all that. You get a gun, and you get attacked by alien, which you have to stealth pass, which I failed like 3 times on my initial playthrough because stealth and me just uneasy bedfellows, just super uneasy. It's like, you know, it's like having a bunk with Jimmy Savile sort of levels of uneasy. That's pretty uneasy if you ask me, but there we go. So I didn't really find the tutorial that good. You do get joined by a group of Marines, which is, I think is the section I captured, because like running around talking to employees with like their boss is not that interesting. So I waited for the Marines to show up before I started capturing, and then I avoided humiliating myself in the stealth section as well. That was a coincidence. That wasn't planned at all. I promise. Yeah. And then you do your first mission, and you're kind of like learning everything. I think like it would probably be better on subsequent plays when you've got all the systems down. You know exactly what you're doing. You're not making mistakes early on, particularly in a game where mistakes can cost you. Because, as I said, it's hard. The aliens hit hard. They come quick. Not like that.
Otago, this is Harper. Do you copy?
But yeah, they get you Marines quick. They run through fire pretty effectively. Your Marines, they all start with some sort of quirk to them, some sort of trauma. So you'll have ones that are like conspiracy theorists that drag down squad morale. You'll have ones that is clumsy, stuff like that. As I said, as you level up, you gain access to perks, and this could be things like better accuracy, better critical hits, or just like I move faster, which is nice.
I'm Pioneer Station. That's my job.
Given the size of the map.
Decided to turn the Otago into
you also have stuff where it's like I think it's like Iron Will or something, where it prevents you from getting like further traumas, stuff like that. There's ones where it will stop you getting tired, because obviously
that's hard to miss.
Going out, running around, shooting aliens in a stressful environment is going to tire you out significantly. You will get injured, and when you come back from a mission, even if you filled up, you could end up in the med bay for a couple days or more. The way you get around that is you start off with 2 medical sort of doctors, and you will find more during the course of the game, and then you can use them to cut. You can use 1 medical doctor to cut 1 day off of a Marine's healing, even all on the same Marine. Say you got like a high level guy with a big gun, and you're like, shit, I haven't got my squad anymore, I'm gonna get toasted. You can like spend 4 doctors or 5 doctors or whatever to get him back on his feet within a couple of days instead of like 8. So that's nicely done. Out on the maps themselves, you do have essentially fast travel points, which are called arcs. What happens is you get your armored recon carrier, I think it's an acronym for, and I used acronym correctly that time. See, I do know what it means. I'm just stupid. And you'll open up these points, and then you can move your arc up to it, and it provides a fire base, so it will shred aliens near it with its cannon. So it's a good way to sort of, if you've got a horde coming in, and you're like, oh shit, I am out in the open. If you get your arc over there in time, just sort of bunch up near it, and the arc will shred a lot of the aliens with its turret. So that's a really nice thing. You can also use it to extract anybody you pick up, like you get a Marine early on, you extract him, and he's available in your roster because you don't have that many, so you do need to pick them up. especially if they all die horribly. It's worth saying that it's probably wisest to cultivate two different teams that work together well. So if you've got like heavy gun in one team but not the other, you might want to get one in the other one, just so like if this team tanks, you've got a backup team that can go. Or even if it hasn't tanked, it just needs to recover and like catch its breath, then you've got the other team that are fresh and can go. So keep that in mind when you play. The arcs themselves can be moved manually from point to point, so you can choose where it is. So if you called it in over here, because it's where you dropped you off, and you moved up the map, and you're like, there's a survivor over here. Well, I need to get him to the arc. You can just have the arc come to you, or at least the nearest point to you. The arc is also how you extract your marines, so they all hop in and arc buggers off back to the dropship, and the dropship back to the Otago. And then you have a post-mission screen in which you're told a lot of like the resources you've recovered, the status of your marines if they've leveled up, things like that. And then you go back and you start, you have your point, you get to choose which arc point you enter from. And then you just carry on from where you were. There's really no benefit in not. Well, there is. Well, so the way it works is obviously you want to go back to the ship if you're stressed, if you're injured, or if you just think, right, I've done quite a bit here, I'm pushing my luck now. The old counter's getting a bit high, I want to go back. Because when you come back, the counter would have reset and it'll be back on easy, and you don't have to worry about it for a little while. The trouble is, you're going to do one deployment per day, at least initially, and you do one deployment, you cut it short, come back, day rolls on, infestation level of the planet gets higher, and as that gets higher, one day isn't one level, it will like sneak up, but as that gets higher, it obviously becomes more difficult. So there is a bit of risk and reward. It's like, how far can I push it? And you do want to push it as far as you possibly can, because you've got so many sort of systems that are working against you. You really need to be sort of like threading the needle on it, in my opinion. That's one of the things that really prevents me enjoying this game as much as I want. Also, as I said, I would have preferred it if it was turn-based, more like XCOM. Much like XCOM, you can customize your marines pretty extensively, though, so that's good. And depending on the types, they will get different outfits as well. So obviously the gunner gets like a breastplate. I guess that's for hooking on the smart gun. Because like only... Like Drake didn't use a smart gun harness, did he? Because he's a big man and he's just like... Or did he? I can't remember. It's been a while. Leave me alone. Yeah, I can't remember. Screw it. Whatever. But yeah, they had like a Steadicam thing, so I'm assuming that's to attach that to. And then you get the sniper who has like a poncho. Because sniper, I guess, but whatever. It's nice to see a few different weapons in the hands of cloning marines outside of Alien's fire team anyway. So yeah, it's a game that's makes me very ambivalent about it, because I think if it was more like XCOM, I would have enjoyed the absolute hell out of it. As it is, there's elements I appreciate about it and elements I don't. I mean, most of the stuff that I don't like about it is my fault, essentially, because, I'm shit at stealth. And if I was good at stealth, the game would be a lot easier. And a lot of the systems that I'm talking about that punish your ass would be a lot less harsh. But I'm not. So it's, for me, it's... I mean, this is why I'm ambivalent. I like the atmosphere it generates. It feels like Aliens. I like some of the characters in it. I like the fact that you get all the different weapons and you can upgrade and work on your marines. I like the fact that they have they all start off with some kind of weird trauma that you have to work around, and it gives them character. The graphics itself isn't that great, but it's much like when I said in Diablo 4, it's like if you zoom right in, you can pick out, it's much more blatant than this, obviously. But sort of taken as a whole, graphically, it looks nice. If the cutscenes that use the character models, not so much. Very, very sort of XCOM levels there. Perhaps even a little bit lower, in all honesty. But outside of that, I don't know, it's just... I mean, I don't think I'll ever finish it unless I cheat like hell. because it's hard,
No.
and it's
You
not
thinking
very,
what I'm
it's
thinking?
not a game sort of genre I'm
We have
very
to go
good
there.
at.
See for
And
ourselves.
yes,
What?
the types of genres
I
I
feel
am
for
good
those
at
people,
are
but we're
well,
blind
they're
here.
few and far between.
If we're
But
to save
I
anyone,
would say
we need
I'm
proper comms.
only moderately
got it.
bad at most of them.
The Otago,
This sort of
Hutchins
genre, I'm
dropship,
pretty
armed
terrible
vehicles,
at.
my Marines,
It's like
they all speak
okay,
the same language.
RTS,
Courtesy
which
of
I
the
just about
USCM
managed.
comm system.
That's not
But
what
then
I
you're going to
meant.
be
Military
stealthing in an
decision
RTS.
Which means it's
like,
my decision.
Dude, you remember those missions
Those
where you had
folks
one
need
commando in Command and Conquer?
Fine.
I fucking hated
What do you
those.
need from me?
I was a
Well,
turtle boy. I used to like building up my
normally
base.
I'd lead the squad
Have the
and
enemy
an
come to me,
officer run oversight.
repulse them, build up an overwhelming force, and then Zerg rush
tactical
everything in front of me like a
From the
motherfucker.
ARC, our armored recon carrier.
Can't do it with this because you have 4
I can
people.
do that, but I need you to handle
Just
the rest
saying.
from here on the Otago.
Oh, I thought I was.
But
in
there
the
are
military.
certainly parts I like about it. Certainly the price of £35
If I
is
can keep my people alive,
a major winning
I
factor.
need
It's
someone with
certainly
smarts for when my
money I
people
do
show
not
up.
regret spending,
Helps.
regardless
Ain't
of
exactly what I
anything
signed
else.
on for either.
It's worth £35
Welcome to
in my
Colonial
opinion.
Marines.
It would be even more worth it if it was a game type I enjoyed more, but I am still enjoying it. It does start to grow on you. It's just getting past the initial first few bits to when you're sort of like leveling your Marines and unlocking more
Understood.
weapons and getting a bit
Uploading
more
mission
facility in what you're doing and being able to more thoroughly customize the loadouts of your squads, things like that. That for me sort of really does help with it. Initially, it's just like I have a squad of Marines, so I have shotguns, smart guns, and not much else. And okay, fine, but like that's not very interesting. And then you unlock smart guns, and you get like sergeants, and you have sort of more skills to access and more strategic options that you can take. So yeah, it does indeed blossom into a pretty damn good game, but it's just a balls hard one. Anyway, let me know what you thought of the game down below, and as always, if you did like it today, feel free to give it a thumbs up or perhaps a lovely subscription, where I will come back to you, if YouTube allows it, on a Saturday notification and
All right,
talk
Marines, listen
bollocks
up.
about
I know
whatever
we're
I've
hurting,
been
but we got
playing.
us a go mission. We've pulled in a
Yes, I
partial
think we
signal
might be
from the
going all
settlement of
out
Dead
this
Hills.
week.
We don't know exactly what's
For
happening
those
there,
who know,
but after
you
what
know.
we've seen on Pioneer, we can't take any risks.
Anyway,
We'll start
guys,
by securing
take it
the landing
easy,
control
and I'll catch you
zone.
next time.
From there, we'll take a look.